This is MJ Davis, and today I'm drinking at Moe's.
All right, everybody, taking time out before we get this show started. I want to thank Reaper Apparel for having Drinkin' Mo's be a brand ambassador for their clothing line. They got good stuff. They got t-shirts, they got hoodies, they got beanies, they got lots of great stuff, encouraging everybody to break out of their comfort zone, live their best self, and hey, it's something I try to live every day. Now, be sure when you go and you're finishing filling out your order, use the code Drinking at Moe's, get 10% off, and the link and the code will both be in the description. Let's fucking go.
All right, everybody, welcome to Drinking at Moe's. Big Mo here. You know the drill by now. YouTube, make sure to like, subscribe, share, comment, all that good stuff, because YouTube's algorithm is a pain in the ass. We are most places you can find your audio podcast too, so don't forget to leave a review there. Today, I'm excited to have with me NJ Davis. How you doing?
I'm doing good, Mo. How you doing?
Oh, I can't complain. I had some pretty great, both personal outside of the show news that, I can go into later, and some wrestling related and in-show news. Getting to meet Mike Bennett again, and did a short little, you might have seen it on the Facebook page and stuff, the little video similar to what I was able to do with the GYV. So that was fun. I'm trying to get a few more rolled out anytime I get to meet somebody. So I can't complain.
That's the name of the business: meeting people, connecting, and going to the next way.
Oh yeah, and I can go into some of my other experiences there, but also my co-host of My Two Cents, we are both going to the March Wrestling Revolver show. So we are looking forward to that. They got, I think it's Second Gear Crew along with Masha Slamovich versus Ricky Shane Page, Alex Colon, Steve Macklin, and Killer Kelly.
That's a good one.
Oh, that's going to be a barn burner. But enough about me. We're here to talk about you. And I got a little bit of an audience right here with one of my foster dogs attached to my hip. I love her to bits. But first thing I'd like to start off with everybody with is what got you started as a fan, and then what got you finally deciding to make that leap into the business.
Well, Mo, I've been a fan since I want to say about my first memory of professional wrestling was watching an episode of SmackDown as a kid, and of course, like around 2003, 2004, and I see Rey Mysterio out there just flipping around doing. Because I wasn't a big kid. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's kind of hard to think now because like a lot bigger, but I was never really a big human. So like I would be like, oh, I think that's just the coolest thing ever. And like I think I started because my birthday is around WrestleMania time every year. So it's in
Okay.
March. In March, WrestleMania is in March. Beginning of April normally. So I would used to always that would be my number one thing I'd ask for for my birthday would be, hey, can we get WrestleMania? Hey, can we get that? And my parents were just like, oh, this is the cheapest gift I can get ever. So yeah. So those get me one of those instead of having to buy a billion toys and everything like that. And like always get a chance to look at it. And I think the thing that got me started, I used to play basketball in high school, and I was gonna go to the community college level with it. And I had been to all the summer practices, but I ended up getting cut right before the season started. And I was like, man, one of my old high school teammates, I used to hang around him a lot. He was like, well, dude, he said, you got to do something. He said, you always talk about wrestling. He said, you said, I do want to give that a try. And this is me, like, about 5'11", 170 pounds, soaking wet. I was like, all right, we can go figure something out. I went to Monday Night Raw, and I ended up catching a deal on the tickets. A friend of mine had called me and said, hey, he had an extra ticket, and he was only
Mm.
asking $50 for it. And I was like, all right, cool. And in my mind, we're sitting up high. In my mind, we're sitting up high. He had $50. We were on the floor. So we
Ooh,
were, and
okay.
like seeing all these people up close. I think the one that stood out to me the most was seeing Bray Wyatt
Oh man,
and,
yeah.
and, and broken Matt Hardy up close. And that right there was just like, I was like, dude. Then and standing close to Brock Lesnar kind of really messed me up. At the time, I was like, if I'm gonna do this, I gotta get bigger. But I ended up meeting a wrestler on the floor and like independent wrestler out here in Memphis. I cannot remember his name to save my life. So I never saw him again after. Never met him again. But he gave me the name of a place where I paid $25. It used to be called RSWF down in Memphis, and I paid $25 to go take my first bump. And I was in like to take a bump and see the sport is not like sunshine and roses. So I paid for the time. But here's me being a smart kid because I was a pretty smart kid in college. So in high school and college, I was in honor society and stuff. So I went and watched every episode of WWE Tough Enough before I went and took that bump. So, and like I had a little thin mattress in the front room, and like I was watching how to take the bumps on there. So I would go in there hurting myself trying to take these bumps the right way. So then when I got in there to take my first bump, they're like, "Oh, that's not bad. You been bumping before." But you don't understand is I've been watching tutorials how to do this for like the last 2 weeks. I had to talk myself into going to do it, and then I went to one of their local shows, and then I ended up getting in touch with some people, and I was trained in two different increments. For about 2 months, I was trained by a guy that's known around Memphis and the Mid South area very well. His name is Derek King. I was trained by him for about almost 2 months. Then I got in a car wreck and I couldn't no longer go
Mm.
to where because I was driving all the way to Jonesboro to go get trained on, and I couldn't get a car that was going to sustain that. Then this is how I met my trainer. I met a guy. I was working at Walmart at the time. I met a wrestler that kind of ties into a storyline I'm in now. Uh, his name's Kevin Bless. Met him in Walmart because he was working at Walmart as well.
Mm.
And he was like, "I got a guy that can train you, that helped train me." And my actual trainer is V Man from Memphis, and V Man has touched all the good talents of Memphis. Like so, like after being trained for over a year, because I was in school, so I only got to come at certain times. I was set to debut and then COVID happened. So I was like, oh, this kind of sucks. So I went 2 years of just refereeing, being a 6 foot tall referee who was getting bigger as it like I was lifting weights constantly because at the beginning of the training you get thrown around because you're small. I was like, I said that ain't for me. So I put on some size. I got to about 240 pounds, and I said, all right. I texted him. I said, I think I found a company that I can debut at in 2020, and it's down in a little city in Pocahontas, Tennessee. And I had my first match there, and I was prepared to wrestle. I also had my gear just to wrestle in.
Yeah.
And at that exact moment, that's how I knew. After the guy, the promoter's name was Chad Stone. He was like, "Hey, you gonna come back next week?" And I was like, "Yeah." So I ever since then I've been every week I've been wrestling somewhere. I've been in now reaching year 4 and like now I'm like more of like on the like more populated shows in the area.
They,
So like I'm like,
yeah,
and I
they often say, you know, sometimes you end up just falling into a booking just because you have your gear. You always bring your gear with you because you never know. Like I remember having a guest on a while back from where I got my start watching independent wrestling in Southern California. And he told me this story about a show that I saw him on after I moved back to my home state of Nebraska, that he wasn't even supposed to be on that show. Somebody ended up not being able to make it. They needed a replacement. Somebody pointed over at him. They asked him if he had his gear, and then boom, he's on the show.
That's why I think that the saying at the end, at the bottom of the card, when you see it like a flyer, card is subject to change. Because I've been at shows where stuff like that happens, and I've been the guy that's been pulled into a show because stuff like that happens. Because I'm always ready. I keep my gear on me throughout the weekend. Like if you, I ain't gonna lie, you're not gonna catch me during a weekday with my gear in my car. I'm not. I'm like I'll have some shorts or something to go work out with you or something. But I ain't gonna have like full on wrestling gear in my car anymore. Well, because I stay in Memphis, and that's just not a safe thing to do. but but I'm all for like wrestling at places like that. And like I used to be that guy. I was when I tell you I just showing up at shows at first, and it's kind of how I started getting noticed by the like bigger people. Like I've been influenced by a lot of people just by showing up at shows. And like there's one thing you always count on me for is being reliable. If I'm not there, something actually did happen. I'm not just throwing out of the show. I love wrestling. I'm not gonna call out for no reason. But
Yeah, no, I'm definitely the same way with the podcast, because I think I've only ever had to on my end cancel or reschedule probably once or twice. And the one of the times I can specifically remember was because uh, a person that I owe a lot to when it comes to independent wrestling getting back here to Nebraska, because the thing that a lot of veterans struggle with when getting out of the military is, having that support system, and that feeling that a lot of people get of, you go where all of your friends are like right there, and then now spread all over the place, and some people struggle. Well, this person ran a promotion here in Omaha where I live now, and if I met them by chance at a show in Southern California, they told me about the promotion up here. And yeah, I owe them a lot. And I tried to remember where the hell I was going with that, and my dog distracted me. Damn it. But it's like I owe them a lot, because that gave me that sense of just knowing that I had a system of friends that I ended up earning. And hell, one of those people I ended up meeting through that guy ended up being the best man at my wedding. So yeah, forever grateful. And now that I can remember where, looking at my notes, because I got off track, we're gonna jump back into the notes.
okay.
That's why I keep my notes. When I first started some of my earlier episodes, oh god, I would pick myself apart. I would absolutely pick myself apart because I didn't have the notes. And then somebody suggested, "Oh, why don't you do this?" I'm like, that is actually a good idea. And ever since, I've been using it. So the next thing I had in my notes here was in-ring persona. Now, everybody that I've talked to, it's always that first year to sometimes longer, bit of a feeling out process. What's going to work, what hit well with the crowd, what didn't. How was it for you coming about with yours?
So when I first started, the nickname that I used to get was called the Machine because I was always like if you ever looked at me on social media or anything, I was always either working out and I'm always doing something. and that kind of like came to that persona. But nowadays, I kind of escaped from that about I want to say about year two, and kind of went into more of like there's no as you can see there's no moniker up front of my name right now, but like the like it's more of the presence when you see me, and like I'm like I've been I've been in heels for so long. I can tell you right now, I am just I don't have a pleasant look on my face when I'm playing. I just
Mm-hmm.
and quite frankly, it has to do with wherever I'm at because like there's a couple places I just like dude I don't see I don't want to see this man. Listen, and like it's more of like and then I come out with my manager, Mr. Lucky T. Larson, Esquire. Once they see him, then you see me as well. You know,
Mm-hmm.
first off, your guy has no chance. We're the best of things. We're the best that we have to offer out here. Part of the Legion of Lucky, we run things up with him. I've been 2 times Southern Heavyweight Champion. And I cannot. Now I will say I'm gonna be a third just in due time. Just in due time. But it's just more about the like the persona of me. I want to say it's just the powerhouse. It's a powerhouse. I'm 270. I'm 265, 270 pounds, and like I do some things I'm not supposed to. I've been able. You wouldn't see a 270 pound guy drop kicking somebody that's 6'6" in a social situation.
Most
You will see,
definitely.
you will see it from me because quite frankly, I'm a hybrid of all. I'm a jack of all trades. I'm just that good, and I'm a firm believer. I'm gonna tell you, I'm just that good. And not only if I'm gonna tell you this, but I'm gonna show you this.
Ah,
And now, if I cheat, if you're saying I'm cheating in the way, guess what? If the refs don't see it, it ain't no
yeah,
cheating.
yeah,
Okay, we go.
that
It
is the
ain't no
way to
cheating.
look at it. And you know, speaking of powerhouses, I've been lucky enough to have a good handful of them on the show. Like one of my earliest big names that I had on through a promotion that's been really good to me, Warrior Wrestling out of Chicago. They
Heard of it.
invited they invited me to their St. Louis stop a couple years ago, and got to be a part of the fan fest. Got to meet a bunch of great people from the crowd, bunch of the wrestlers that came in, like Uemura and Alex Coughlin. Holy crap! I've got nothing but great things to say about them both because they were some of the first. As soon as they got there, whether you were podcasters, ring crew, setting up for the fan fest, whatever, they went around and introduced themselves to everybody. And I was just like, that just immediately jumped off to me. Alex Coughlin, powerhouse in of itself, because that night I saw him have Uemura in a headlock like you'd see them about to do a vertical suplex. But he was sitting down, lifted him up into that vertical position, stood up, and then did it.
Freaking
And then
amazing.
that same night, I got to do a mini episode with, going back now by Bronson Reed, which, holy crap,
That's a big
that,
man.
oh man, me and, mentioned some stuff about wrestling figures. I regret that I didn't have this with me at the time, but bam, got it.
Bronson, big Bronson.
Oh man, one of my favorites. I hope they end up doing a little more with him soon because hell, they got, as of recording this, Elimination Chamber in Australia. Why not have the big man from the damn country on the damn show? And then more recently, you might have seen a little clip of one of his matches go pretty damn viral. The guy known as Brick Savage down in Texas, he had the clip that went viral was him, and I joked with him about it, where he basically picked a guy up by his leg and slammed him like Hulk did in the Avengers. it was basically like Hulk did to Loki in the Avengers, where he was like,
I,
wham, wham,
I
that.
saw that. I saw that clip, and I said, I don't know about y'all, but that is why I put on weight. Because that can't be me.
Yeah,
I,
yeah. I literally had the man on because as soon, like, I think I was actually talking with him about coming on before, but that clip sealed it. Like, I have to have him
gotta,
on.
gotta, gotta get it.
Oh man, and he's
And
been doing some great things ever since with, you know,
he
Metroplex Wrestling down in Texas, and being a part of the, I mentioned Revolver, the few stops that Revolver has had down in Texas, and has had some absolute bangers down there.
Oh, indeed, indeed. Let's see, like, hey, you call him a powerhouse. I call that man a monster. I said that guy's he's not normal. And like I've run across a fair share of monsters in my career. Like you see them in the ring, and like some of them that don't even look as strong as they are, but they are just freaks of nature. And like there's, there's a guy down here in the Memphis area. I got to wrestle him on TV a couple times down at, when I used to work for Bluff City. His name is Charles. And Charles does like strongman lifting. He's a strongman. So I asked him in the back, I was like, how much do you bench? He said, I don't know. And I said, everything I need to know. So he took my hand and he almost broke it. I was like, I don't consider myself any small man. Like I said, I consider myself one of the best out here. And they can call it ego all they want. I said, it's the persona of what you're gonna get when I walk in there. I'm sorry. But that guy took my hand and almost broke it. And I just looked at him and I said, you know what? It's gonna be a rough day. He picked me up in like a carry motion like this, and he did it with one hand. 270 pounds. I just looked at him, and then the worst part is, I think my dad was in the car. And he just looked at me. My dad told me when I got home, like he called me after. He was like, "Man, dude picked you with one hand. I almost took off him." I was like, "You?" Then you. I was like, hey, "Y'all don't understand." I was like, it is what it is at that point. I was like, "Man, put me down." Like,
It meant you brought up, doing some things that, people might not expect of a guy of size and that sort of strength. Kind of people talking about like heavyweights moving like cruiserweights sort of a deal. Like there's been some big men out there throughout the history of wrestling that have definitely fit that mold. One of my personal favorites that jumped right out at me as soon as you said that. I mean, I got my little rest in peace section of my collection back here, but the big man, Bam Bam Bigelow.
yes, yes. One of my all-time favorites to grow up watching. 'Cause when he that moonsault he used to do was just like to me, I was like, dude, that's crazy. Like as a kid, like I didn't grow up in the time of seeing him, but when I started to study wrestling more as I was getting into school, like going through elementary school, and you see my favorite thing to always watch. They had this video that used to be I was like the top 50 finishers of all time, and when I saw this giant man jumping off the top rope, I said, "There's no way."
Oh yeah. Oh
Like
yeah.
as a kid, you got to think that was like terrifying.
Oh good
And
lord. I remember being a little kid and this was back then, but seeing the flame tattoos on his head and stuff,
I
he
thought that was
when I was a
I
little kid, he scared the crap out of me. But man, the guy his size doing the stuff that he'd been doing, I remember I didn't get to watch it as it was happening. Like, I don't think we even in Nebraska got ECW at the time, but some of his ECW run, especially the couple of matches he had with Taz, were like
oh yeah,
they would go through the ring or the entrance ramp. Man, that was some intense stuff.
Those are some of the like ECW classics. And like when you look at like you look back at ECW classics, you can't really name that many ECW classics without naming people like Tim and Sam and Rhino.
Mm.
Those kind of mass taboo. I used to love ECW. That was my Tuesday night thing, especially when they started playing it on TV on
Mm.
Tuesdays. I was like, what? I have wrestling on Tuesdays now. You would have told me when I was a kid that I was able to watch wrestling Monday through Friday, and then also be able, and that I was able to watch wrestling Monday through Friday as an adult, and also go out and wrestle every Friday and Saturday, possibly Sunday if I could. I did, and I think that was my lifestyle that I was gonna be living. If before I was like at the age of 25, you cannot tell me that. Like I was like, I probably as a kid would be ecstatic.
Oh, yeah. And, you know, I've always kind of gravitated towards those intense personas and individuals, a lot of them being some of the bigger guys like Bam Bam Bigelow. Like, oh, God, I'm trying to remember. I know right now here in Nebraska, we got a guy that I joke around about it, but it's legit going back to the whole strongman thing. A man going by Red Wing, who I kid you not, he does the strongman stuff. He works on a farm, and his arms are, I kid you not, as big as my thighs. So yeah, I've always the big dudes that, you know, you just see them walk into the ring and you're just like, oh damn, I'm in for a treat tonight. Those are the type of guys that I always kind of.
Every time I see a guy like that, I go back to Booker T saying on NXT where I see him, he don't want no bread, he don't want no water, he wants just meat and like stuff like that. Like, and I consider myself a big guy. That's only around here. But like when I go other places, that's why I call stuff a hybrid when it comes because I'm only 6 feet tall. I was say, and I know when you meet monsters and stuff, I'm like, okay, I gotta take you down different ways now. Let's go ahead and go about this. And somebody who, if his arms are the size of your thigh, if you think I'm gonna normally lock up with him, you can think again. You can think again. I'm smarter than that now. I'm smarter than that. You ain't gonna get me.
Oh
I ain't
yeah.
gonna. I don't back down from the challenge. I know better when I don't think I'm gonna win. So
And you know, I was just thinking about this. One thing that I've loved about this podcast of mine, which as of the day we're recording, I just released the 200th episode.
I thought you had a guy that I know on there that I've listened around with. Tavon Jordan. I think
Yeah, just recorded with him. Yeah.
great kid. Can't beat me, but he's a great kid.
Yeah,
Listen
his
to
episode is going to be an extra that I'm going to release, like, as of recording this next week. You know, kind of celebrate, 200 episodes, because good Lord, when I started this, I don't think that was a milestone that was ever even thought of that I'd even approach. And here I am. So it's like, holy moly. But I was gonna say though, the thing that I love about this podcast is I get introduced to new places, new promotions all the time. And some that I saw advertised on your Facebook page, I'll admit, not as familiar with as some others that I've been introduced to. 901 Wrestling, which what jumped out to me about the logo that I saw is it almost looked like a news station logo, like they were, like a breaking news story on the bottom of the screen, and I was like, okay, that's different. And when it comes to, you know pro wrestling, whether it be national TV or independence, uniqueness is kind of few and far between anymore. Which, I mean, with as long as it's been around, it's bound to happen at some point. But that right there, to me, at least, was something unique, even just as something as simple as the logo.
Well, I would say this. I would say this about 901 Wrestling. It's one of my honest favorite promotions that I've worked for in my career, whether it's in refereeing or wrestling. That place is a crowd like no other. You get in there, and all right, I'm gonna give you the. I'm gonna let you. I'm gonna tell you the scoop that the news said about it the other day. So you can see it on the news. It's like when you get here, we had like news team and the I Love Memphis blog in there. They're sending out the 901 Wrestling is ran inside of a place called the Black Lodge, which is a video store, video game store, old school video store. We get there and we legitimately transform the inside into wrestling. And we this year of the year 2024 had straight sellout sales. When I tell you seats are sold online before you even get in the door, and then people are trained to stand up in the back. They're like, we will stand up in the back. And I think our New Year's Bang show, I was co-main event, I was the semi-main event, and in the tag team match, it came a little bit up short. So it's why I started to see some true colors. The guy was my partner at the time, but dude, when I tell you, there's no, I haven't out in the Memphis area, there's no crowd like it. When they come in, they're electric. It's like you should like if for people who are watching this and have never watched the 901 wrestling show, go do it. I'm about to say because it's and we post our full episode on the Saturday afterwards, and then we'll post the matches one by one as the week goes by going this week because we now run the first and third Saturday of almost every month. Go in there and like it's a it's a special place. I really like it. Fans finally have gotten on my side after I, I finally made some better decisions. But,
it, it can be one of those processes, especially in new places. If you're starting out as a heel, especially winning the fans over when you eventually make that turn, it can be a little interesting. I know people talk a lot about turns in wrestling, and I actually, in my name game category that I actually have at least one person here that in the list that has had a interesting turn lately, that I'll just put it that way before going in too much. But I will definitely be checking more of 901 wrestling out because, like I said, as of right now, not as familiar with them as some of the other places I've been introduced to, but I love getting introduced to new stuff. There's so much out there that, you never know when you're going to find something new that you're going to enjoy.
I'm a firm believer of it. Like I've been over the last I want to say about 4 months of my career, I have been to places that I have yet to even go and just living wise. Been to Ohio twice. I've been to Zanesville and then I was at Columbus, Ohio, which basically is Cincinnati for New Year's Eve. I was there for the Battle of the Border because Columbus is on the border of Indiana, Ohio, and I want to say Kentucky. It's right there in that little
Yeah.
and crowd like no other, and just it's just a great atmosphere, great people. I like to meet other wrestlers, pick what's your mind, see what got you here, and what you gonna do when you get out there. I don't I don't really care what your background is so much. I just want to see where your mind's at here, here. And but yeah,
That that'll be fun. I'll definitely enjoy getting to check out some of that. The other promotion that I was noticing promoted a lot on your Facebook page was Tennessee Championship Wrestling. Now, what do you got going on there to, you know, educate the people that'll end up watching or listening to the episode?
So when you're training in the Tennessee Championship Wrestling, there's only one thing I want you to make sure you know is that the region of wrestling we running. We are running this. Whether it's me, MJ Davis, or is it the Kingpin Bam Bam Bundy, or you have honestly the most entertaining man alive, Brad Batt. Like we all, we running. And it's like it's a promotion that was basically taken over by KC Gold. That was used to be the old school USA Championship Wrestling ran by Burt Turner. So, and I didn't get a chance. I was one of the people I didn't get a chance to work for USA when Burt was alive. But as soon as the opportunity came up for it to be Tennessee Championship Wrestling, I threw my hat out there. I thought I'd love to be a part of this. I've been running around this country for about 2 years or so now, and like I said, I've been a two-time Southern Heavyweight Champion for them, and honestly, one of my favorite, like I said, one of my favorite promotions. We run out of Dixon, Tennessee, which is up near Nashville. We run out of Jackson, and we run out of Selma. And when I tell you though, when I say we got shows going on, yeah, we be having shows going on. Like we have a really big show on the 8th, Friday the 8th of March. You'll see a lot of
Yeah. I was going to say that one was in my notes that I marked down.
yeah. We will be running the show at Henderson with our big show of the year. It's a high school. We normally sell. It normally gets between 3 to 8, maybe 1,000 people. But it's a it's a good show. And I just got the news today, so whenever this comes out, they'll probably already see it. But like if you want to just tune in, I tell you right now that the main event for that show was announced today. That it will be a 5-on-5 ring 5-on-5 match team. KC, who was apparently sick of how we're running things as the Legion of Rookie. I don't understand how. But they're gonna be facing the Legion of Rookie in a 5-on-5 match. I think I think it's supposed to be 2 rings. I think we have 2 rings going on. And it doesn't really matter who KC gets to join his loser squad. They can go somewhere. I don't
That'll be
personally.
that'll be a fun one. And I believe it was that show that it was also announced. I mean, the guy kind of, I mean, understandably, with everything that happened with him, kind of fell off the map for a little while. But I mean, pretty big name, another powerhouse. Michael Elgin was on, I believe, on that one.
Yes, he's also on there. He'll be facing Jason Genesis. He's a good talent from our area. Yeah, the guy that I butt heads with a lot. I'm not gonna lie to you. He thinks he's great, but yeah, sometimes I knock him down the side. So, but just a little trash talk for me. How I gotta go.
Oh yeah, nothing wrong with a little trash talking every now and then.
But I did a show with Michael Elgin a couple weeks ago. Really good guy.
Now,
Really powerful.
oh, go ahead.
Oh no,
Yeah.
that was it.
Oh yeah. Now, kind of last thing before the categories that I have. Southeast wrestling has been like rich in history, like going back to the territory days, as they call it, going all the way down with Texas, Georgia, Tennessee, with Memphis. Hell, I remember seeing a damn documentary just on I think it was called Memphis Heat, actually,
Mm-hmm.
that I remember. And yeah, some of the I talked about intensity and that being what draws me in, especially now. Back then in those days, man, Memphis was intense.
Monday night, Coliseum. I wasn't alive for most of the time. I wasn't alive, so my dad and them always tell me stories about this, and that's why he was like so excited when he heard I was going to pursue wrestling, because he used to be one of the guys that go to the Coliseum every Monday night and sitting up every Saturday morning watching Jerry the King Lawler and Jackie Fargo and the Moondogs and all them being on there and being out there, going out there doing it and telling And that's one thing about 901 and Tennessee Championship Wrestling that I like to say we do really well. We do well. You can do all the moves you want, and like that's cool. I think I heard MJF say something about this one day. He was like, "You can do all the double basketball that you like. Can you tell this? We're gonna make you feel this. I want." And that's how the crowd interaction gets. That's what Mid South Wrestling's all about. That's what Southeastern wrestling in the country is all about. Yeah. Once you get down here, like I tell people now, you come down here, not for the faint of heart, not for the faint of heart. You can be a baby face everywhere and get booed out the building because they don't like you.
Oh yeah, yep, it happens definitely.
So
Now, oh, go ahead. I didn't want to interrupt you there.
I was like, you're good, you're good. I was like, it's just to me though, it's just what makes wrestling South.
Oh yeah, most definitely. It's definitely one of those things, especially with the national expansion of everything. We're you still have the independents out there that like you could go like back in the territory days and be a good guy one place, and well that character might still be that same good guyish sort of thing, but you know won't get over so well in some places, and you'll get booed right out of the damn building, like you said. Now, going into the categories here, the name game that I have, where I name off some people, and you give me some quick thoughts on the person. First thought that pops into your head. Now, I try to theme it towards the guest as much as possible, and you know, with as of recording this, we're in Black History Month, and there has been all sorts of great talent in the Black community in wrestling, going all the way back to the days of hell, Coco Beware, Junkyard Dog. Crap, give me 1 second. Try to don't know what the hell. All right. Crap. All right. I don't know what the hell's going on there. All right. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we're good here.
Okay. For some reason, somebody was trying to call me, but it said potential spam, so fuck them. All right. But like going, Junkyard Dog, Coco Beware, who was actually in my first ever WWE show I ever went to. Him and Owen Hart versus the Head Shrinkers. I remember it specifically because I forget which one of them out of the Head Shrinkers it was, but me being a third grader at the time, I laughed my ass off at this. One of them picked their nose and then ate it. Yep. Me as the little kid at the time, I was laughing my butt off. And I actually, hell, my wrestling figure collection back here, I have actually been able to meet Head Shrinker Fight 2, Rikishi. I actually got the signed figure right up there. So now going back to my point here about theming the name game towards the guests. And with Black History Month, each of these guys, more so recently, huge names in the Black community in professional wrestling. So I give you the name, give me the quick thoughts on the person. First one is the one that I'll say that I mentioned having a bit of an interesting turn right now, going from playing, and he still has little bits of aspects of it, the heel persona here, but he went from playing an absolute sadistic son of a bitch to now people can't help but cheer him. And I'm talking about whose house? Where's house?
Oh. Uh, my words to describe Swerve as honestly unique talent. Unique. talent is just the key to it. I'm a giant fan of him. Not gonna lie. One of my favorite reasons to tune in AEW. So unique talent is my word for him.
Oh, most definitely. I actually had the pleasure of getting to meet him, well, him and another person on this list through Wrestling Revolver. And it was back when him and Keith Lee were still AEW tag champs. And both signed figures right up there, Swerve and Keith Lee from that show. And I all I have to say about him is it's always interesting when, in front of the camera, heels, sadistic people, the huge, you know, over the top heels that, like Swerve was during the feud he had with Hangman Page that I guess is still kind of going on. But
I don't know.
breaking into the house and stuff, it was like, oh damn. But then when I got to meet him at Revolver, one of the nicest dudes ever.
A lot of people think that because I get that some people when they meet me at like a fest or something like that, they're like, oh, you're a lot nicer than I expected. But like you haven't seen anything yet. Just calm down because you would think I've been told you would think I'm a complete ass, and quite frankly, because it's because I have a face of him. I don't really care for a lot of things. So like when I'm around, so like when I'm you see me, I'm a people person, but like also back the fuck up real good. Excuse my language on that one, but back up. Back up. But uh yeah, unique talent though. He's very great at what he does, and honestly,
Most
one of
definitely.
my favorite
I'm
wrestlers.
excited to see where this potential stuff goes with becoming AEW champ. If there's a guy there that hasn't won it yet that deserves it, Swerve is definitely that guy. Most definitely. Next guy on this name game I have here, well, I kind of mentioned him already. Keith Lee.
Word association completely drain a thing.
That,
Um,
judging from how we've been talking so far, and the whole powerhouse aspects of stuff, getting to see you mixing it up with Keith Lee, that would be something special.
Keith Lee has one of my favorite NXT matches. That's one of my favorite NXT matches of all time. Him versus Dijak, and it was a match of guys doing stuff that they're not supposed to be doing. And always been a fan of Keith, even when he was at the triple threat match, the triple threat five versus five Survivor Series.
Mm,
Him being that last person, like getting rid of stuff at the end, I was like, man, Keith is.
yeah,
I was like, I watched his WWE 24 a good few times, because I was like, I want to wrestle that guy. And if it ever reaches out to him from here, me and you one on one, it's gonna be something special. Unless man, we're gonna win,
most.
but it's gonna be something. It's gonna be something special.
Oh yeah. Now, next guy, I got a little bit of a. Well, I get a kick out of this story when it comes to him, but he definitely had, we're coming on the heels of another WrestleMania. He's had a huge WrestleMania moment, winning the WWE title. Talking about Kofi Kingston.
That's 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 a legend, man. Like I my word to Kobe is just a legend. Like he's a walking legend, and he probably wouldn't want to hear it from somebody, but an inspiration to any young black kid out there that wants to get into this business. whether you think you're the size or you know you're not the size. Kofi Kingston is that guy. I'm nothing but respect for him in his business. Can't
Oh,
wait to honestly meet him one day. So like he still has one of the funniest stories I think I've ever heard somebody say about traveling when CM Punk talked about how him and Custom keep constantly getting pulled over. But the he I would say one of my he's up there on my list of people like, hey, I idolize this guy to death.
oh yeah. Nope. I get you there. I know I've actually had a little bit of interaction with him on X or Twitter, whatever the hell you're wanting to call it now. Back a couple of years ago, he on an episode of SmackDown, they were doing the whole New Day thing, and I think he was going New Day, baby, and like his voice cracked a little. So then I tweeted at him, and I'm like, dude, your voice cracked there a little bit, didn't it? And he was like, he actually responded. He was like, yeah, I mean, it kind of did. I'm kind of getting over a cold or something. He was getting over something. I'm like, oh, damn, I hope you're okay. And then he mentioned, yeah, back with his family at the time, so he's getting better. So I'm like, okay. But just that little bit of an interaction that, to be quite honest, he didn't need to respond. But the
No,
fact
he
that he
didn't.
did, that was like, okay, this is pretty
That's
sweet.
pretty cool. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Honestly.
Next up, last but not least, doing some big things, almost a bit of a hurt business revamping. Talking about Bobby Lashley.
If there was, my that guy's like to me, he's something else. Like he's one of a kind kind of person. Bobby's good. Bobby looks not only does he look big, you can watch the videos. He trains hard. He does everything. He's really good. Like I was a fan of the Hurt Business. I was a fan of a lot of things he do. Somebody who want to wrestle before he retires because I don't know how long he. Like you never know how long most people be out here in this business. But like some guy always catches my attention when he comes on there. I like the new revamp of it because also a giant fan of Montez Ford.
Mm.
So like and and like I can because you're not a wrestler in this business if you want a fan of this. I don't care what anybody says. You can say you don't like wrestling and you're a wrestler, you're like, but that guy, man, I I like to go in there. I just don't. And let them know now you're not going to catch me in a hurt lock. I'm going to go ahead and say it now. You're just not going to.
Yeah, that's something.
But he one of a kind, one of a kind
Oh,
for Bobby.
most definitely. Now, I have some random questions. Some might be wrestling related, some might not be. Some might have absolutely nothing to do with anything we've talked about so far. That's why they're
Okay.
random. So, first one, I keep in here more often than not because I love some of the stories I get out of some of these situations. But craziest in match moment for you?
Craziest in match moment. If we're to, if we're to talk about like just something that just is bizarre to me when it happened, I would say doing my first ever ladder match.
Mm.
Didn't know I was in a ladder match till I got to the building. Didn't know. They just asked me if I was available, and I said yes. So I get in there for the first match on the card, fatal four-way ladder match, briefcases up in the air. Now only thing that was weird about it, the weirdest part about it to me was I didn't need a ladder to touch where the case was. It's like I can jump up and grab things,
Yeah.
but they didn't want us to do all that. So get in there. I'd never taken a ladder bump before. Never really did a lot of Extreme Rules matches ahead of that before. but got in there and did what I needed to do. And midway through the match, the guy goes, like, another guy around the Mid South area is known pretty well. It's called Zay Washington, and I gotta get him back for this. And so Zay goes to suplex me on a ladder, and like I kind of like paused, like at the top point. He wasn't trying to vertically suplex; he was trying to get it. But I think he stopped because he didn't want to hit the ladder himself. So he throws me on the ladder, and I smack it. And like normally when I hit on an object, like I be it hurts. For people who don't know, those objects are real. They're not hitting people with fake things out here.
Yeah.
Wrestling is not fake. So when I hit that ladder, I got to realize how hard it is to hit a ladder in my life. And you see my eyes get really bucked. And I try to scream, but I hit the middle of my back on the corner of it, so I couldn't. So I'm sitting there like that. I'm like, oh my god. And then that part right there was painful, but the shocking part was the ending when he put me on top of a different ladder and he did a 450 splash off the top rope, laying straight on me. By far, did
Insane.
did not see it coming. Completely insane. Was sore for like 3 weeks.
Oh, I
like,
can only imagine. Holy
like,
moly.
and it was just insane. And then like I'm laying there and I looked up and they're climbing the ladder for the finish and the ladder broke. So
Ugh.
and I see the ladder breaking and it looks like they're about to fall on me. And
Oh no.
I said not today. I rolled out.
I've been able to witness a few ladder matches. One of them, the guy that ended up being the best man at my wedding was in, and it's this promotion's version of the Money in the Bank ladder match. And they had a ladder bridge between the guardrail and the ring apron. And I see him with a guy on his back. And I'm like, I see him looking down. I'm like, no, he isn't. They go, jump, ladder folds. And I'm like, okay, my back hurts just watching that.
Oh my goodness, man. Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
ooh, that makes my back hurt right now thinking about it.
man, I've been lucky enough to, like I said, with the story that you gave with yours, I've been given some pretty great stories, including ones involving Keith Lee, actually. One involving New Jack, actually. And a match.
Nothing is a shocker there no more.
It was like a match in the original ECW, and they were told not to, destroy. I forget the specifics on what they were told not to destroy, but they both ended up at one point in the match, both going through a wall, and then Paul Heyman's yelling at them after the match.
Oh man, yeah. I bet like that's destruction. People don't understand. We got to pay for that. So that's destruction.
Yeah, I can imagine. Now, we kind of brought up WrestleMania moments. Lots of people have their favorites. What would you say is a favorite WrestleMania moment of yours that you've been able to witness?
I didn't watch. Well, when it comes to a lot of WrestleManias, I didn't get a chance to watch a lot of them live. So when I got a chance to watch them live, and like you get to feel that first feeling of watching it, I have to. I have to. You know, it's hard to be picking one, but these three stood out to me. The first one, the Heist of the Century. Watching the match, I'm like, okay, Roman's gonna find a way to win this, unfortunately, and I did not want to see Roman win at the time. And then you hear Steph's music,
Mm.
and I'm sitting on the couch, and now my eyes are huge. I said, there's no way. Do you see him? sprinting down there and basically hijacks the main event. Crowd's going nuts. I said, you just turned a WrestleMania match that nobody honestly was happy about to now, holy, this is going on. So that's
Turned it
one.
into the absolute best ever Money in the Bank cash in, hands down, ever.
It to me, I said that's one, and then number two for like Money in the Bank cash in was Dolph Ziggler, the Raw afternoon. But
I would,
like with yeah, that's up there in the top three of me. But the other WrestleMania moment I think that I watched live that I was like, man, that's something else was the streak being broken
the what again?
when Undertaker's streak was broken at WrestleMania.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. No.
I remember I remember being a senior in high school and like no, it was the year after I graduated from high school and I was sitting there and I was watching it and when he counted the three I didn't believe it. Like I was sitting here and I was like, wait, no, wait, that's not supposed to happen. I remember you could play any kind of wrestling game on like on the PlayStation or whatnot, and like it was impossible to be Undertaker at WrestleMania. Like, this right here, when Brock took his legs and they counted to three, I was just like, you see that guy in the front row whose eyes
Yeah,
was just like
where his
this,
eyes were practically bugging out of his head.
I was in shock. Like, and to me, it's one of the best moments I've ever seen in my life. You can't getting pure shock value. The words of Paul Heyman, shock value is very hard to come across. But man, that's something else. And three is probably the best match that I've ever seen at WrestleMania. Was the one that was I think it was exactly the 25th anniversary when I witnessed Shawn and Taker and just
Ah,
the
yeah, that was a classic.
50 minutes of I can't stop watching this. I like I to this day will go. This is the best match I've ever seen because
Oh yeah,
I
I can't.
didn't even think it was ever going to end. Didn't think
Yeah. Now I know for me, when it comes to matches, I mean, me being the Stone Cold fan I am, a couple of mine all involve him. The submission match with him and Bret Hart, the one where he won the WWE title against Shawn Michaels, and then him coming back after however many years it was, and that match that he had with Kevin Owens. It was like, me as a Stone Cold fan I was a little worried, with the neck injury stuff that he had. Yeah, goosebumps. I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it because, like I said, I was a little worried. But then, holy crap, they both made gold that night.
And I remember watching that. I remember I had a show that night. I was in 901, and then after the show, I rushed home after my match to make sure I caught that. I was like, I don't want anybody to run this one. So like, I got home and I sat there and I watched it, and they were main event, which was perfect, and it was just like an old school match. It was like you didn't see a lot of extravagance and stuff like it. It was perfect. I was a giant fan of it. Love
Oh,
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
oh
That
yeah.
that was fan.
Well, one wrestler I haven't met that I joke about it, but I'm serious. If I ever got to meet him, I don't know if I'd be able to get a word out. Like the way I've had him built up in my head all these years, and then I'm finally in a room with him. Holy no, I'm not going to be able to talk. But
I
one of my other favorite WrestleMania moments was actually during the first ever pay-per-view I got to watch as it was happening, and it's from WrestleMania 20. The very end, like the ending images of Eddie Guerrero and, well, we can say it here. They don't say it on WWE anymore, but Chris Benoit. The two of them, the story between the two of them up to that moment, and they get to share that moment ending WrestleMania, both holding the titles that they had. Man, that was some emotional stuff.
That was a very one, and like that was a tearjerker. That's one of the tearjerker moments.
Oh yeah.
That one's like that one and the Flair send off of 24.
Ah, yes. You know, the whole Shawn Michaels saying wording, I'm sorry, I love you before he super kicked him. Oh man. Yep.
I will say that I was a grown man crying. I was a grown man. I was a grown kid crying at that point. But and for me to be able, it meant a lot to me that where I watched that, and for me to be able, I want to say it was like 2 years ago when Flair had his last match. I was there in attendance. I was actually volunteering there. I got to volunteer. I was able to hang around, meet all these people that day. It was a great time. It was a great time. Man, that's
That, that
special though.
that's awesome. Now, I mentioned about my wife and I helping with a dog rescue. I'm passionate about it. You know, I some people when they initially see me, they think of I literally had some kid say this to me one time when he first saw me. He thought I was some big bad biker dude, and I'm like, if you only knew, man, I'm just one big ass teddy bear. But my whole thing, I'm getting to my love for the dogs. I've always considered myself more of a dog person. What do you consider yourself? More of a dog or a cat person?
I'm a dog person. I am a personally a person thinks that. Cats are the perfect heels for anybody.
That
I actually do have a dog. She's another one right now. Her name is Dawn, and she's like a silver. She's basically kind of blue, but like she's silver pit bull. And she got way too much energy. That's why she's another one. This interview would not have went so smoothly if it did if she was in one. But I'm definitely more of a dog person.
oh yeah, I my wife and I we actually have both, but I've always been more of a dog person. I got nothing against cats because you do bring up the you know cats have that
Just feel
thing going
mentality.
about them where there's a lot they have that indifference. It's like, yeah, they could want let you pet them and let you love them, and then like the very next second they could be like, hey, get away from me.
Yep.
All right.
Very nice.
Oh yeah, it could change pretty damn quick. Now, I would feel weird with the name of a show like I have if I did not have this question in here. Favorite drink, whether it be alcoholic or non or one of each, because I've had plenty of people on that for various reasons don't drink, so I kind of flipped it around there to try to be inclusive of that.
Understandable. See, here's the thing. So when I first heard of it, I was like, I guarantee you, he must be gonna be drinking on it. Easily, but yes, I do drink. So, but I give you one of each. Favorite non-alcoholic drink is probably gonna be like some form of like a Star Blast Bang, like a Bang energy drink, a Star Bang. 'Cause I don't really drink a lot of sodas and stuff like that. I normally drink water or like some form of an energy drink to stay awake on one of these road trips, and then there's alcohol. That's about it. But it would be a Bang energy drink would be my non-alcoholic one. And it has to be Star Blast. It has to be one of them. Some of them are fast, but I don't want Bang to hear that. I like doing. I like doing this stuff. But alcoholic drink, I think and it sounds kind of old school with this, but just give me a Jack and Coke, and I can go on about my day. Like
Hey,
a Jack.
nothing wrong with that. I've I stumbled on this. I know there's an actual name for the drink, but it's Jack and Coke with grenadine. It like literally tastes like a Jack and Cherry Coke.
Man, I haven't thought about that yet. But you know what? You piqued my interest. Cause, hold on, I'm gonna show you something. So inside this little barrel right here, that's in my, I remember my brother's office. I bought him this for Christmas. This is a barrel that we keep alcohol in, and it's like, and it just makes it age over time. I found it at a store, and I was like, he drinks a lot. I was thinking about that. But easily one of my I love Jack, and like I've tried Jack with a lot of things. I've done with Coke. I'm gonna try with the grenadine with Coke too, because that sounds
Mm.
like a good idea.
The,
But I
the,
even they used to have this thing out here. It's like, 'cause, you know, Jack is made out in the Smoky Mountains up here in Tennessee, and they used supposed to make Jack with Mountain Dew. I had no want to do this because I love Mountain Dew, but I tried it one day. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. But I am not gonna say it was better than Jack and Coke, but it wasn't that bad.
I actually one time my favorite non-alcoholic, bit of a Dr. Pepper fiend, and I actually stumbled on this one time that I had a shooter bottle of Jack Honey, and I'm like, I looked down, I'm like, hell, dumped it in there. Oh my god, it was good.
I think somebody stumbled across one day though. They got me. I was at a bar, and this guy out here in Memphis, I think his name was Cal, and he was a bartender in town. And he was like, there's one alcohol I don't normally experiment with the Southern Comfort because it's kind of a stronger kind of bourbon, you know what I mean? So, but I was like, what can I mix Southern Comfort with if you don't? Because they were out of Coke. And he said, I got something for you. And I was like, all right. He mixed it with lemonade.
Mm.
This is like 100 proof Southern Comfort and lemonade. I looked at him like it was madman. I was like, what are you doing? You trying to kill me here? I gotta get home. It's like, but turns out it's one of my favorite drinks. It's like a whiskey sour kind of, and it matches so well together.
Hmm.
Like if I have a bar out here in Millington, but not really a bar. It's Buffalo Wild Wings out here. If I go there, and let's say I'm sitting at a booth, I'm not sitting at the bar and I order a Southern Comfort and lemonade, the bartender out here will come out there and hand it to me because he knows it's me. He knows that he's like, nobody else is gonna order it. He was like, but he's like, I know it's him.
That's it. You know what? I might have to try that out sometime because it does sound like it would be pretty tasty.
It goes along. Give it a couple to the first thing you're gonna be like, what? And he's gonna take another one.
It,
No way that this is actually working.
I'm definitely going to have to check into that one. All right. Last but not least, because Foster Dog here is looking at me like it's time for dinner. But best advice you have for anybody wanting to get into wrestling?
Best advice. Getting into wrestling is first off just about finding a school, using the school. So my best advice to anybody getting into wrestling, I'm no form of vet or anything, but the way I would tell my female told me this, and this stuck with me, and it's always been well in my career. You keep this close, keep these open, and then always make sure you're introducing yourself. Always take everybody's hand before you leave, and then you get there. It's the biggest sign of respect, and respect goes a long way. Don't let your ego get in the way of you because you can think you're as good as everybody can hype you up to be as good as you want to be. All it takes is one of these vets to like give you the no, and then you're done. Like I'm about to say, because I don't believe in disrespect. I'm not a big person on disrespect. Yeah, my character gives a lot of disrespect to the crowd. But when you get me around, there's gonna be respect here, and like you show me disrespect, I don't. That's a quick way of me saying, hey, I don't want to be around this guy. So
All right.
learn,
Yeah. It's
learn to
it's
respect.
actually great advice, especially the introducing yourself part, because it said a lot. First impressions are everything, especially when you're making your debut in a new promotion, going around and introducing yourself, because hell, that well, not alone, but that combined with, wowing the crowd during your match, great first impression.
Very, very much so. And as a baby face, you want to make sure you find a way to get the crowd on with you. The heel, your job is to shut this crowd down. Silence. Everybody wants to think silence is a bad thing with the heel. Like, if you can leave the crowd in like a state of awe as the heel, like, oh man, he came out here and beat him down. I didn't want to see that. It's not what you want to see. It's what I wanted to do. So it's like that. But yeah, that's the advice I keep to people.
Definitely great advice. Well, before we go, where can people find you social media wise? So if they don't already have their eyes on you, they can go ahead and get them there.
They can find me. My fan page on Facebook is the exact words, the real NJ Davis. We got the first names I had, but the real NJ Davis. You can also find me on Instagram at the NJ Davis 24, and then you'll also find me on Twitter at my Twitter is 40. And then let me change that one. And I'm also on TikTok at NJ Davis.
I've kind of neglected the podcast TikTok page. I've been trying to be a little better at that one, but with the schedule I keep, something on there's getting neglected, and when I'm pretty much the one that runs all of it. One man show on that, so something's getting neglected there when I have all of those.
Yeah, that's understandable. I think the one I used to neglect all the time was Twitter. So like, I recently gotten more more going on there. So,
yeah. Twitter for me is more of the, live tweeting while watching wrestling sort of thing. Don't tend to get on there. Well, and, advertising episodes. Other than that, yeah, I'm not incredibly active on there. But yeah, no, that is about all I have. Want to thank you for taking the time to talk to me tonight, and best of luck out there 2024 and beyond.
Thank you. It was a pleasure having me on here. It was a pleasure me being on here with you, and it was a great talk, man.
Thank you.